Yeah, on the topic of Webb, it's sort of interesting. You don't sort of know what version you're going to see. And maybe it was a blessing in disguise, that sort of, I don't know if you call it a status check, recalibrate the focus at Paris just to know where he needs to be, because those guys are probably going to be, as you know, a couple of the fastest guys out there. So, and obviously not having Tomac to train with because he essentially does his own thing. How exciting is it to see Tomac back? And I guess he's a bit of an unknown, but you expect he's going to be super fast and doing his own thing. He's on the grind, putting the work in, and it'll be also a pretty cool story to follow how that sort of dynamic with Tomac and Webb, obviously two sort of alpha guys that both think they're the best and know they're the best and want to win. So it'll be pretty interesting to see that one sort of play out, because they're probably not the most sort of friendly guys in that race environment. They both sort of just head down and get the job done. So how do you see it playing out? It'll be a cool subplot to follow, won't it?
Yeah, I think they'll be okay. I really do. And Jason Wygant and myself were kind of talking about this. What does that look like? Two alphas in the same truck and things like that. But both of them are consummate professionals. And I don't think, Webb has tried to play games with Eli in the past, and it had zero effect on Tomac at all, right? He didn't even blink. It didn't phase him, nothing. So I think Webb has learned who he can play those games with and have an effect and who he can't. And to be honest, I think Cooper feels like he has a lot more problems than just Eli Tomac right now, right? He's going to have to deal with Jet Lawrence, and Kenny is back on form. And there's a lot to unpack there versus just two guys going for the championship when they're in the same truck. That I don't believe that's how it's going to be. Obviously, Chase Sexton is going to be incredible. He's a reigning champion. So if Cooper Webb is spending his days and nights worrying only about how he's going to get inside Eli Tomac's head, I think he's kind of missing the plot a bit. He needs to worry about being his best self. And, if anything, those two should be working together to find pace to go battle the youngsters. And I don't think they will. I doubt they'll practice together. But I could see a world where that's their best plan, is to ride together and feed off of each other, because they're both older. It's both, it's challenging as you get older, especially for Eli coming off a big injury, to find that intensity and find the new techniques that are going to allow you to go faster. That young riders, that's what they do. They innovate and they bring new ideas and new ways to attack racetracks to the table. And I firmly believe that's why Hayden Deegan is at Eli Tomac's, has been at Eli Tomac's property riding. And so Eli can watch him ride, find that intensity, have someone that is not a risk to him, but because by the time Hayden Deegan ever rides a 450, Eli will be long gone, right? So there's no animosity there. They can truly push each other without that feeling of, I'm giving this guy too much of an edge, right? Like I don't have to hold anything back. I don't have to hide anything training-wise. I can lay it all out there, and it's only going to benefit me. And that's kind of what that point I was making about Webb, that's what I think he needs. So to your specific question of how does that work inside the same truck, I truly think it's going to be fine, simply because there are too many other variables at play for them to be solely concerned about each other. The only caveat would be if somehow, Jet hurts himself or is not. That's the only way I could see it. He's not going to be ineffective, so he'd have to be hurt. And maybe Sexton is off or hurt or something, and it just came down to those two, then it gets really interesting, right? Because you have this inner truck battle. But I truly think there's way too many other guys to be worried about to allow that to creep in. If your first thought is like your teammate, I got to beat my teammate, man, on a championship level, I think you're going to really be missing out on what's important.
Yeah, absolutely. And I suppose those elite guys, they're used to sort of that team within a team vibe in those big factory teams when you're against guys that you're competing for wins and podiums.